What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be checking out Dungeon of the Endless. It's been a little bit slow. There's not a whole lot of stuff going on in indie gaming until kind of the end of September, the beginning of October, and I think that's when we're going to be really popping off with more Steam Next festivals and all that kind of fun stuff. So for right now, I wanted to take you guys back to the days of 2013 to an old favorite of mine that's been updated to basically sheer perfection. This is a really, really good game, and honestly, I feel like it deserves a place on everybody's wish list. This is one of those games that you can frequently pick up for really, really cheap on Humble Bundles, and it's going to be really easy to dump like 100+ hours into this one. Dungeon of the Endless is kind of a strategy game, it's kind of a tower defense game, it's kind of a roguelike. It's got influences of all of those things coming together to make sort of a fine pate that bounces across the top of the palette. So we're going to check it out today, spend about 25-30 minutes with it, and see if it's something you wanted to add to your wish list. Otherwise, pass on. If after watching this you wanted to get the game for yourself, I will have a link for you down below in the description so you can check that on out. In addition, there will also be links to my Twitter, my Discord, and my Twitch stream, just in case you wanted to check the game out and then come talk to me about it. So let's dive on in. We'll do a new game over here, and you get some fine little animations. One of the things that really draws this game apart is that it has some of the best pixel art I think I've ever seen in any game ever. The game is just an absolute visual feast for the eyes, and there's just no way around it. If you're into pixel art, this is one of those games you're going to want to check out. It has a wide cast of characters, including some of the characters from Team Fortress 2 that were included as sort of like an Easter egg or like a nod to the community. Don't be alarmed. This game... Every single character in this game has their own build. Every single character in this game has their own sort of, like, synergy with all the other characters, I guess. But they can largely be kind of, like, divided up into DPSers, runners, so speed characters. There's some overlap between the DPSers and the runners. They're going to be divided into tanks, and then they're going to be divided into sort of support characters that kind of, like, change what all the rest of the guys do. You get to pick your characters at the beginning. A really good starting team, in my opinion, is Butcher and Dina, or like Butcher and, let's say, maybe Tro. I think Tro's a really, really great character. I like Butcher because effectively he's a turret on legs. You can plant him where you need him to be in kind of the conflict, and he can hold that line by himself pretty effectively. Tro is kind of a hybrid DPSer tank. He's somewhere in between, and I think he's really like one of the only characters in the game that really fulfills that role in a hyper-aggressive way. So he deals a lot of damage, he's got a lot of HP, he's got decent speed for who he is. The only downside is that he brings almost like no utility to the table, and so you're going to have to fill in that utility elsewhere. So I would suggest we bring let's bring you, and then we'll bring Tro. That sounds really good to me. All these other characters, they've got various attributes and things that they do, but they're not as simple and binary as these two characters, which in my opinion, for like a gameplay like this, really makes them a great place to start as far as tutorializing the game. As you find people in the dungeon, if you can keep them alive for 3 floors, you will unlock them. I have seen all of these characters except for Mitzi and Elise. I haven't seen Mitzi and Elise, but I haven't managed to keep them alive for 3 floors. I have, however, kept Warden alive. I have kept Professor alive. These guys come default. I think I kept Rakia alive as well. And so anyways, just keep that in mind, is not only do you have to find these guys in the dungeon, you have to keep them alive. And this game is very, very hard. If you've noticed the difficulty over on the side, too easy is basically the easy mode, easy is the hard mode. But easy is the intended mode that you're supposed to be playing on. There's also other ships you can unlock right here that'll give you different like starting qualifications, different amounts of group members and whatnot. And you need to do challenges in order to unlock these. So there is some progress that's saved in between runs. You've been forewarned, this game is very, very difficult. I definitely would not expect to step into this game and win on the first go. The game is really, really long, so one run can take you upwards of 6 to 7 hours. Luckily, it saves whenever you drop on out of the game, so that's not a concern. But anyways, it's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult, and it's going to be long all the way through. So get your jokes out right there and keep that in mind. But let's go ahead and crash land on the planet, and I'll explain the core rotation of how the game functions and what you need to know in order to be successful. Hopefully, you can pick up some tips from my video. I spent about 20 hours playing the game, so I have learned some things. The goal of the game, let's start simple. The goal of the game is to find the exit and to take the crystal to that exit. When you pick up the crystal, your dungeon is going to be flooded with enemies, and hopefully the defenses that you've built along the way will be enough to hold them off until you get the crystal to that location. The game functions around the simple idea of being turn-based, and a turn passes when you open a door. So every time you open a door, you get more resources, and then every single time you open a door, something happens. It could be good, it could be bad, it's usually bad, sometimes it's somewhere in between, but that's the general idea, is that this is kind of a real-time, turn-based hybrid. At the top, we've got industry. It's for building buildings. We've got science. That's for doing research. We've got food, which is for feeding your characters and leveling them up and healing them. And then we've got dust, which in all the Endless games is kind of like this resource that is sought after by everybody because it generates electricity. Each of these little pips that you have in your dust meter, they're going to allow you to illuminate a room, which is very, very important because bad guys cannot spawn in an illuminated room. So let's go ahead and we will move to the first room. The first room should be pretty easy. There should be nothing going on. Inside this first room, we are going to power it by middle clicking. We've got a major node, and we've got a collection of minor nodes. Major nodes, you can put things on here that mine resources for you, basically. So like an industry generator is a really, really good choice for your first room. As you can see, that brought up the amount of industry that we're generating per door that we open by 3. As we upgrade this using our research, it'll generate more, but for right now, that's what we've got. Let's go ahead and press on into this next room and see what it's got waiting for us. And it looks like it has a research crystal. You can barely see it around the back of the debris from our spaceship crash, but it's there. It's there. So let's go ahead and go in and we'll illuminate it. We don't have enough research right now to do anything, so like we're just going to kind of leave that behind. We've got monsters inside this room, so we're going to fight them off, and we got a little bit more dust to power our area, which is absolutely fantastic. We can bulldoze that crystal if we want to later on. Just to make space and take the major node out from underneath it. It looks like we've got a science creator upgrade. We've got a mechanical pal, which you can basically deploy on any node that's making resources to give it like a +1 or like a +2. They tend to cost a lot, though, so they're really only worth deploying in the very, very early game. Honestly, I wouldn't even waste the research on it. Its application is so limited that I don't think the mechanical pal is good at all versus other things that you can unlock. We've got a Claymore Mine. Claymore Mine's pretty good. Deals a bunch of damage. Does AoE damage to enemies coming through the room. We've also got the Tear Gas, which puts a damage over time effect on every enemy that's trying to walk through the room, and I think it slows them down. No, it lowers their defense. So it's good for rooms that you're trying to defend. Let's go ahead and let's take Tro, and we will cut north right here and try to figure out sort of the lay of the land and what we've got going for us. Okay, so we've got a little room over here. It's got some free industry inside of it. The only downside to that is that we don't have the dust to power this room. So, unfortunately, we are now going to be open to attacks from this room whenever we open a door. Anytime you get like a long corridor layout like this, the level is going to be naturally harder than it would have otherwise been by its lonesome. I tend to like things that are clumps. But if you get like a long corridor with only one door connecting all of it with occasional like side branches, that's sort of like the danger zone, in my opinion. That's when you tend to run into problems and things that you're like, oh no, this is going to suck. I'm going to go ahead and open one more door in the hopes that maybe we'll get some dust. We did get some dust, enough to power one more room. We'll go ahead and fall back to our defensive perimeter right here. Yeah, a bit of a nasty fight right here. I think we're going to have to fortify this little area. I don't think we're going to have much of a choice. I think we're going to have to take some of that industry that we've gleaned, and I think we're going to have to turn it into something. Yeah, let's go ahead and make another industry generator right here. And then with the remaining points we have, we're going to put in little science prod turrets in this room just to add some extra DPS, to kind of get the wheels nice and greased so that when the enemies come through, we got plenty of shooty bang bangs that we can shoot in their way. You know, shooty bang bang, I love you, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so principal concerns right now. Things that we want to look at. Like, we've got spawns coming from this direction, and we've got a double spawn coming from this direction. This is reasonably fortified right now, so we've got to decide what room we want to illuminate. I would suggest we illuminate that room right there. You can always power and unpower a room whenever you want. There's nothing pushing you to, like, leave things in their current configuration. In fact, what I like about this game is that you can really kind of customize your coverage as you see fit in order to make it work for the current crisis at hand. We have a triple junction right here where we got to decide where we want to go. The exit is in one of these directions, and choosing wrong could turn this into a bit of a headache. I'm going to go with the upward direction. We do have enemy spawns. I don't know if they're going to be coming. Oh, they are coming from right there. Okay. Well, this is going to be our fallback room. So as you can see, if we can draw them all back to right here, it doesn't look like we're having too many problems with wiping the enemy. Another thing you need to note is that every character has abilities, and we didn't even talk about that. So Butcher has an active skill that increases his attack power by a bunch so that he actually slays pretty hard. He's also got an ability called Pack of Dogs, which means that if he's in a room with other people, he gets plus 6% attack power for every person in the room with him. We also have Tropekenyo. He's got the same ability and then the same passive as well, but they develop in different directions as you give them food to level up. I'm going to level up Troy. In this game, I have found that it is advantageous to upgrade one guy rather than spreading your levels around. I've found that I just have better success when I kind of like level up one guy to be a ringer and just kind of guarantee that he survives. Let's fall back real fast to the holdout room. This room has a special modifier on it. It comes pre-powered. We also got enough dust that we can light up those two rooms right there and maybe take a little bit of the headache off some of the stuff we're trying to accomplish. We don't have enough to get any food up and running yet. I would love to get food up and running, but I've got a feeling we're not going to get too much food development done on this map. Let's go down from right here. We've got two rooms right there. Okay. No exit on this side, but we do have some monsters. We've got multiple enemies coming on through. These little gremlin guys right here hit like a truck, and so we want to drive them back to this area before he bottoms out all of our health. We do get all of our health back at the end of every single fight, so you don't have to worry about people, needing to be healed in between, but you may have noticed this button lights up. You can click on this at any time to give the person food, and it will restore their health in combat, just to sort of give them that little bit of an edge they need to survive. So this room down here, nothing I can really do with that, so I'm not going to worry about it. What we can do is we can put a food replicator in right there to bring up our food amounts, which I think is a solid play, a good plan. Let's check this little room right here. That little room right there is full of the Monstars. Okay. That's fine. We'll draw them back to the choke room, and we'll just kind of finish them off over here. This room, we could turn it into a choke room, and I think it's not the worst idea to turn it into a choke room, but we don't really have the industry to do it right now. I like to go into the next zone with at least 40 industry, and so I'm only going to be spending industry that is in excess of 40 from here on out. Big room on this side. 5 dust. Okay, not enough to get us to the next pinch point as far as getting another pip, but enough to get us to where if we get lucky and we kill these enemies and they drop some dust, we may get a free room out of this, so we'll wait and see what happens here. Doesn't look like it's that hefty of a wave, so I'm not gonna... Oh, we did. We got one, and hey, we got the 2 that we needed. Very, very nice. Okay, so we got 2 energy right there from killing enemies that otherwise we would not have had. I would suggest... Let's power this guy right here. It's one less thing to pay attention to. It's also a corner, since we haven't opened this door yet, that allows us to build another machine over here if we desire to do so. Let's take Tro back out. And I think I'm going to keep pushing in this direction. Now, there is kind of like this golden rule of Endless Dungeon that, like, you should not have 3 unlit rooms in a row. There's our exit. Okay, so we know where that is. That's fine. That is good to know. No monsters have spawned. We have 1 door left over on this side. When you run to the dungeon and you pick up the crystal, all the doors open anyways. So don't hesitate to open up doors to pick up new gear or find new relics or make yourself more prepared or just to farm up more resources. It'll tell you when you got the last door. So there it is right there. We are fully aware of kind of like our state in the game. We've got a bunch of enemies coming on through, and it looks like the wave is going to hit simultaneously. They're not going to trickle in, which is kind of a headache. I don't love that. Hopefully the defenses... Well, we managed to pull it off. Okay, and it gave us enough energy to where we can get an extra pip now. Good. Alright, so we got to decide what we want to illuminate. That's going to be... I think that's far enough away that we can run the crystal and it's not that big of a deal. We obviously want that to be lit. We can unlight this guy. And we can light up this guy. My general idea is that I'm usually trying to have a straight shot of all lit rooms as I make my way to the dungeon. Or I'm sorry, on my way to the next elevator. I'm going to put Butcher right here because he's slow, and he's going to have to make the run over to this side. He's not really going to have much of a choice. We're going to have Tro run the crystal because he's slightly faster, but he's not that fast. But this is where things are going to kind of get hectic. So let's just go for it. All right, Tro, my dude, you carry that crystal, you carry the torch, you get this thing done. Butcher's gonna have to hold over here, so hopefully he has the damage to pull it off. Worst case scenario is that we pop his ability, and we have him hit a little bit harder for just a second. You cannot attack or take any actions while carrying the crystal, so that's another thing to keep in mind. When he kills those two off and he gets clear, we're going to try and get Butcher to the room itself. All right, Butcher, go for it, man. We may have to give him some food in order to keep him alive. He might be cutting it a little bit close. Ooh, that's real close. I don't know if I should do it or not. I think we're good. I think we're solid. Green button, hit it, we're out. And that's where the intensity of the game comes from right there. I think that one of the things about this game that makes it so much fun is that no matter how prepared you are, it always feels like you're scraping by the skin of your teeth. Like, all of my best runs where I've gone the farthest in the game, I've never felt comfortable. And the way that this game makes you feel uncomfortable the entire time, like, oh no, I don't have enough of this. Oh no, I don't have enough of that, I think is part of the genius of what makes the game work and what makes it so good. We're going to get another industry generator down right here and use one of our pips to power that room. We're going to go down from here. Doobie-doo down, down. Okay, we got a free lit room right here, so that means we're up to 4 pips. I think we are in good shape. We'll put another industry generator right there just to get it up and moving a little bit faster. And this is going to be our first choke point from whence we hold and from whence we fight. So there's all of our defenses up. If you wanted to deploy multiple defenses like that, you just right-click while holding down shift. We've got a crystal in this room. It has doubled our production, or I'm sorry, not doubled our production. It's given us 50% bonus production for 3 doors. That's really, really good. That's going to set us up to be quite successful as we go further on into the dungeon. We're going to have lots and lots of stuff to go around. All right, so that room's full of monsters, and there's also a tank monster in there. He's going to take quite a bit of an extra beating before we can bring him down, but there's a little bit of extra dust to add to the pile. I'll go ahead and open this door now. Anything in here? What have we got? We got monsters. Okay, I can deal with monsters. Monsters are no biggie. We can deal with monsters, no problem. Okay, very nice. They're all down, and we've got a decent amount of resources coming. We have a major node in this room. I'm going to use this opportunity to put down a food node, and we're not going to open that door until we're completely done with the dungeon. We have enough food for level ups. I'm going to give that to Tro real fast. So he's now level 3, and he's gotten a new passive. It's called Scamper. It means that when moving through a room that's filled with monsters, he no longer takes the speed debuff. That's very, very good. If we can get some speed gear on him, I think that ability will actually make him a pretty good crystal runner, although there are other characters that are better suited towards it. We got 10 more dust right there, which means we can light up this room. This isn't that great of a holdout room. It's only got 3 minor nodes, so, like, I don't feel that confident about holding this room. We'll check this one right here. A little bit more dust to be had, and we've got a new character. We've got Mormish. Mormish is a guy in a floating, flying chair, and as I recall, he tends to focus on, like, I think he's actually a tank, if I remember correctly. We need more characters, so I'm going to hire him. The reason we need more characters is because if you have a character in a room when you open a door and that room is not lit, it counts as being lit in terms of monster spawns. So I can now leave him in rooms that I don't want to spawn monsters, especially during the final crystal run, to help out with that. If you wanted to take a look at his stats, it looks like his DPS is pretty poor. His speed is pretty bad. He's got not that great of HP, so I'm going to guess that he's meant for support. So he's got your back. He gets 10% more defense for every single person that he groups with, and then he's also got need for speed, which means he moves 10 faster if he's not alone. Okay. Yeah, so he moves pretty fast as long as he's in a room that's full of people. Okay. Let's send him back to the choke point for right now. I don't really need him altogether that much. The nice thing is you can kick these characters out of your party whenever you want if you find somebody that you think fits your strategy a little bit better. And I honestly am not a huge fan of Warden. I don't think he's that great. I usually try to get rid of him as soon as possible for, like, somebody else. But, you know, for right now, he's an extra gun in the fight. And that, to me, is pretty acceptable. Alright, so we've got 6 more dust right there. That lets me light up this room. You go ahead and pull back to the choke. Yeah, let them have a little bit of a runway to get split up. He kind of reminds me, if you guys have ever seen Alien Resurrection, he reminds me of that guy in the wheelchair in Alien Resurrection that, like, uses parts of his wheelchair to build a shotgun, because he's got, like, a shotgun. That's sort of who he reminds me of. We do have an okay choke opportunity right here, so I'm going to move everybody up, and we are probably going to fortify this room right here. I will more than likely drop... Let's put a food replicator right there. I feel like we have plenty of dungeon left. So I'm going to put a couple of cannons inside of here. And a couple of cannons inside of there. And then I'm going to park Warden right here so that doesn't spawn enemies, just to thin out the wave a little bit. And then we're going to open up this bad boy right here and see where it leads us. No exit, but... we do have monsters, so let's see if we can maybe get a little bit of dust off these guys. No dust. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. If you want to go chill in that room, I'm okay with it. Okay, a little bit of freebie dust right there, and we found the exit. So really, with where we're sitting right now, we're in a really positive place to kind of push for a W. We only have 2 doors left, so that's always a nice thing. We have enough dust to power our way all the way to the exit, which is also a very, very nice modifier to what we have going on right now. There's no door up there. I'm going to pop this guy open real fast and just kind of see if there's a treasure chest or something down here that I want. There's a research crystal. I think the research crystal is a solid bargain. I think we should probably research something. Upgrading your buildings does, like, crazy help with, like, later runs. Like, as you get further into this game, the dungeons are going to get massive. Like, to the extent that you can almost visually, like, you're just like, oh my god, what am I doing? By the time you get to, like, floor 7 or 8... it's going to be bad. It's going to be real bad, and there just simply isn't going to be enough dust to go around. But for right now, we're checking all the boxes for things that I would prefer to have kind of my ducks in a row. I'm going to open up a few more doors. We're going to do a research real fast to kind of prep for the future. I do not want any of these, so I'm going to re-roll the searches. The Subblaster is okay. The only thing about the Subblaster is you can't put it in a room where you have your own guys because it does AoE damage that affects your own characters. But it isn't bad. Man, we got the Mechanical Pal twice. Try it again, see what we get here. So we've got the land module. Hey, Prisoner Prod 2. I'll take that. Prisoner Prod 2 into Prisoner Prod 3. That's some game-winning stuff right there because no matter how much you upgrade it, it still only costs 3 industry to put one down. And so, like... yeah, I'm on board with it. I'm absolutely okay with it. But we have to open 3 doors in order to get that research. So, let's go find 3 doors to open. I'm going to park these 2 here as kind of a defensive cadre. And I think we're in a spot right now we can start to pull this direction because we're pretty well defended on this side. Provided that this is not a dead end. Oh, it's another research station. Okay. Autodock shards are nice, and they're tempting, but... oh boy, my man's getting chewed on. My man's getting chewed on real good. I think they'll survive, though. Yeah, they're alright. They made it. My man got chunked a little bit. He got scuffied a little bit. Okay, let's go for level 4 Tro right there. That's bringing him up. We need to find some gear. If I could find a sword for him, I could double his DPS, and then he'd be a lot more useful to us. I'm a little bit nervous about some of these pulls. If I unpower that room, it may be too much pressure on this choke right here. I think we should probably... well, I gotta open doors for the research. Okay, so I'm gonna sacrifice this right here, this food generator, so that we can hold in a room that has way more blasters. I think that's what I'm gonna do for right now. Because I still need to open doors to get my upgrade. Okay, so there's a pretty solid docket of murder coming this way. I may have played this wrong. Okay. I didn't play this absolutely the worst that I could have played it, but we do have considerable issues. It looks like they held perfectly fine right here, but the dungeon's getting messy. And I don't like it when the dungeon gets messy, okay? I like the floors to be cleaned up. I like the rooms to be swept. I like things to be solid. And things right now, not so solid, to quote Nishka. Let's see. We'll go couple prisoner prods in here just to help out. Couple prisoner prods right there just to help out. I'm willing to spend... I'm trying to get this research unlocked, so I'm willing to spend some resources right now in order to make this go smoothly. Okay, Tro held his angle. These upgraded to level 2, which is absolutely fantastic. Could not have asked for more. And interestingly enough, they haven't wiped out my resources yet. I'm actually kind of vexed by that. Normally they kill these little food things, but fair enough. We've got our level 2 prods now, which is going to help a ton. The question now becomes, do I want to farm more resources or do I want to run for the exit? And in this case, I'm thinking run for the exit is the proper choice. Yeah. Definitely thinking run for the exit is the right choice. So what we're going to need is I need Butcher, and I need the wheelchair guy. What's his name again? Warden. I need Butcher and I need Warden inside that room to hold. We have enough defenses around to where I feel like these waves are going to get really, really picked down by kind of like blasters and stuff. Yeah, they're buying him a little gap right there. You love to see it. But we need to, like, peace out, kind of. We need to... I think if this dungeon gets any messier, our possibility of survival goes down pretty aggressively. Looks good, looks good, looks good. You guys get on over here. Okay, very nice. Let's get the hell on out of here. There is an achievement to survive for a minute after you pick up a crystal. But like, I've already done it, so there's no need to do it here on YouTube. It's a really fantastic game. I think mechanically this game is very, very, I think, elegant. I think that's the word that I would use to describe this game, is that, like, the solutions proposed in this game to, like, your normal problems are very, very elegant. And the way that they've managed to marry systems together in support of that elegance, I think is very, very good. There's just enough randomness for the game to feel unfair at times, but it's hard enough, you know what I mean? Like, it's easy enough to get into, but there's enough of a difficulty curve here to where I think it's going to scratch that itch for some people that really want to memorize the meta of the entire game. It gets harder and harder and harder, so in a certain respect, there's kind of like a customizable difficulty to be dealt with. Ooh, the Kip Cannon, dude. I love me some Kip Cannon. Let's get Kip Cannon. Kip Cannon, its attack power is equal to how much science you have. So after we get the Kip Cannon, we're not going to want to, like, spend our science at all, basically. We're going to want to leave our science just ticking upwards because they will only ever get stronger. Kip Cannon, in my opinion, is the stuff that winning runs are made out of. Like, if you've got, like, level 3 prods and, like, high-level Kip Cannons, dude, like, poof, there is no power in the verse that's going to be able to stop you. Max is inside of this room. Hi, my friends call me Max. Everyone else calls me things with 4 letters. Fair enough. Welcome to the team. Max, what do? He's got Pack of Dogs, and then he's also got Endless Expert. And so that's actually going to increase our science gain, which is fantastic. That's actually really, really good, considering Kip Cannon research is on the way, and Kip Cannon will carry us to glory. Have you ever seen what a room with 6 Kip Cannons, all with 100 AP, does to a mob of enemies? You can basically hold off the entire dungeon with 1 room and 6 minor nodes. It's pretty revolting. It turns choke points into, like, strangle points, basically. Trust me on that one. That's the stuff that victory is made out of. I'm going to open that up real fast. We've got a vendor over on this side who will sell us stuff. I don't really have anything, so he wants industry. We could get a gun with 30 attack power on it. Foof. That would be nice for Max. It's important to note that all these items, they come in different flavors too. There's gray, there's green, there's blue, and there's purple. So there's actually 4 variants of every item in the game. And the better the color is, by World of Warcraft principle, the better the item is. I'm going to set up my infrastructure first, I think. So we can unlight that room. I'm going to light these 2 up over here. Was there a major node in this room? I don't think there is. I think I'm going to have to repurpose this. Yep. That's what's going to have to happen. All right, so we'll power that one right there. We'll power that one right there. It's not enough miner nodes to make this into a holdout, so I'm going to wait until I find a better room to hold out in. 4 right there is okay, but I'd prefer like a 5 or a 6. Hey, free treasure. We got a radio. I don't know what the radio does, but this game kind of has like Binding of Isaac style items that you kind of want to memorize, like which items are best on which characters. I guess there's kind of like a Dota or like a League of Legends style progression there as well, where like some items are like verifiably best in slot for certain characters, and it kind of like behooves you to like memorize them. So we lose 110 HP, but we gain 14 attack power. I think Tro is the only person that has any HP to spare, and God knows he could use the attack power, so I guess I'll give it to him for right now. There is a node underneath that guy. Will it allow me to place with him in there? Because if it will... Oh, it'll let me place. Nice. Okay, well, cool. We're farming industry now. Things are looking solid. But yeah, this is Dungeon of the Endless. I hope you guys liked it. This has been one of my longtime favorites. I absolutely adore this game. The only things that I would nitpick about it that I think can kind of introduce some friction, depending on the player type, is like this game can be very, very random. Everything in this game is designed very, very well, but this is an old school roguelike infused game where sometimes randomness will just end a run, and it is what it is. Sometimes you'll get a bad tile layout. Sometimes you just won't get the items you need and it won't come together. Like, you can pretty consistently make it pretty far in the game if you know what you're doing, but like late game, it is definitely a possibility sometimes that you end up with a tile that is just like, you have a 50-50 shot, you have to pick a door, you pick the wrong one, and this run is over. You pick the right one, and you're on your way to the exit in a big W. And so anyways, randomness, I think, can rub people the wrong way with this game, but hang with it. If you take the time to learn this game and find all the little bumps and, you know, nooks and crannies and things, I promise you'll have a great time with it. It is an absolutely fantastic must-have for any indie game fan. I'll see y'all later. Thank you for stopping on in. My name is Splattercat. I'll see y'all tomorrow with something hot and fresh off the indie skillet. Bye.